I never thought I'd get over Battlestar Galactica, but I have now, thank God, for Stargate Universe. It is the biggest sci-fi show right now on the planet. It is the most watched series on space. The show's been nominated for 9 Geminis this year, and the popularity of the Stargate brand is already rivaling the success of Star Trek. And Star Wars, too. Yeah, it is.
Wow.
We have the entire cast here.
All here. Welcome, everybody.
Great to have you here. How are you?
Thanks for coming in. And in the audience, we also happen to have the co-creator and the director in our audience, and we've got some really huge fans of Stargate Universe. Thank you all for coming in.
Great that you're here. And the other great thing is, too, we've been online asking the fans to give us their questions for you guys. So those are the questions that we'll ask you, which is great.
And before we do, we have to, because, and Seamus was just saying some of the statistics and rhyming them off. I mean, the most watched show, ratings that people hadn't even heard of on a specialty channel like that before. And then obviously a runaway success. Did you ever have an inkling when you were first reading the script for this, pilot or otherwise, that it had the potential to be an enormous hit? I'll just throw it down to you.
Well, thank you. Thanks very much. To use this.
Yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, you're good.
I'll do that anyway. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at the success of the show at all. I mean, I was certainly very impressed with the script, certainly the first 3 that was sent to me in the first season, and it's continued like that. We've got a fantastic team of writers, producers up there in Vancouver, and they never cease to I never get disappointed with the episodes ever.
Got a question here. Louis, maybe I'll throw it at you. I know. This is from Sean Koo. Do you feel any pressure in carrying the Stargate franchise now that SGU is the only Stargate series on air? Fans can be very critical and opinionated on how the Stargate series continues.
Negative.
There you go. Thank you.
Next question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I always have loved you, man.
This is going to be a very quick interview.
I have an interesting... I found out, I did some research that, in fact, the franchise, since its inception, which was 97, correct? Yeah. 354 episodes have been done of Stargate, including 2 films. And one of the things I found really interesting, because the amazing thing for myself, and I think for all of us, we've come into a family, this Stargate franchise. 73 babies have been born since the inception.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I found out. That's a little stat I found out from the office staff yesterday. But it says a lot about the sort of thing. You know, we sort of, I think, are very blessed to come into a family that essentially was there to begin with. And it's rare. I mean, to have this sort of product coming out of Canada for this long is just, that in itself is something.
That's
so
very true.
I know I'm very proud of that. Thank you very much.
And we're done.
And we're done. Brian, let me ask you this, because when you've got a cast like this, and I was just speaking to Ming-Na off camera, and I said, you're able to have some fun. She said, yeah, it's a really serious show, but you guys have a lot of fun. There must be a few bloopers that you can fill us in on.
Yeah, I can't believe...
David's really laughing loudly.
I don't know, do they keep those bloopers? Do they? They really should. Because there's some really good ones. I remember one time I actually ambushed Jamil. We were doing these shots where we had to be going down these hallways, kind of searching for these aliens. And I hid behind a panel, and he's really getting into it, really getting nervous and being all method and whatever. And I jumped out right at the end of the take and just scared him. He fell right in his butt. And this. And my voice went up. He screamed. He screamed like a little girl, And that's little moments like that. But we do that because it's you're right. It's a very serious show, and you gotta keep light with it. You'll go crazy.
Okay, let's see. Question for David. What was this is from Abbas Karimji. What was your initial reaction when you were first appointed the role of Eli, given the fact that you were a strong fan of the previous Stargate series, and did that influence your experience as a cast member on SGU? It's not me. It's not me. It's Abbas.
It was a terrifying joy. It's early, and I came up with that.
That's nice.
Because you don't want to disappoint anybody, and it's a lot of expectations and a lot of people to prove right and wrong. But at the same time, it gives you what Louis was talking about, kind of an advantage that you would have on other shows, because you have people who want you to succeed. People who actually care and are behind you, and you feel a little bit of support there too. I feel like I probably have pissed off Brad and Rob and everyone more than anything, because having watched them, I can be like, well, I thought that it worked like this, and that's not what we're saying. But they're usually great about it, and they know the world so much because they've created it. They really created literally this universe, for lack of a better term. See what I did there? That it gives you a freedom because you can feel safe and just trust.
Elise, let me ask you, were you a science fiction fan or even a science fiction geek before you did this?
That is a loaded question. You know, I don't discriminate against any genre, but I wasn't necessarily a fan until, to be honest, I started working on the show, and then I got an appreciation for it.
Yeah.
What I love with Syfy is that you can die twice in one episode and still have a job the next week. So, I'm thankful for that.
Not like Dynasty. Yeah.
I've actually never seen that.
I'm showing my age. Okay. Elena, you also juggle a recurring iconic character of Black Canary, a DC Comics superhero on the series Smallville. And with Smallville in their 10th now, wow, 10th and final season, have you been approached to play the character one last time?
Yes, I'm shooting some episodes as we speak in between shooting our season finale of Stargate. So I have a very busy week this week, and it's great. I love that I'm in Vancouver, so I'm able to do both shows.
Yeah, very good.
And Jamil, let me ask you, when I was on the set of Grey's Anatomy, and of course I was asking these folks, did they learn something about medicine and all of that, name dropping. And so I'm asking you, with this universe and the science and the technology that's behind this universe that's created, have you learned about it? Like, is there stuff that you didn't know before that's kind of fascinating to you?
There is something out there straight ahead of us.
Yeah, I learned that FTL means faster than light. When we read the pilot, when I read the pilot, it's like FTL every other page. And I was afraid to ask. I was up there asking my mom and friends, like, what do you think this means?
FTL?
You could have Googled it.
Ming-Na, this is from Sean Koo. You both have a voice acting experience. Your roles in Mulan, Final Fantasy, The Batman, Jamil in... Oh, sorry, this is for Jamil and Ming-Na. And in Jamil and Hey Arnold. Is acting harder when you have to completely rely on your voice to convey the character as opposed to also using your physical and facial expressions on camera? Throw it at you first.
No, I find it a lot more freeing and easier to just do voice acting. And when people ask me whose career I'm most jealous of, I always say the actors on The Simpsons, because that's all they get to do. They never have to show themselves.